Take your seats, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's Working of Essex Business Forum. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. The right way round. Many of us went to the belated Christmas do on Tuesday. Just really, I'd like to thank, maybe a little round of applause for Brian for organising what was a very successful evening. Right. I'm sort of doing this in reverse order today. I'm Aidan Squire, I'm the meeting chairman. It's my job to get you through the agenda. I'm, as always, assisted by my leadership team. Looking upstanding, please, and introduce themselves.
Vincent, Membership Committee, Timekeeper.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. I'm Terry. I deal with membership and recruitment.
Morning, guys. Ben Golding, Education Coordinator.
Good morning, Scott, your meeting secretary and handsome face of Life Jack.
Yay!
Good morning, everybody. Brian, social secretary.
Yep, thank you all. Please be seated. Right, into the proper. First up is the Performance League, and who better than Scott to deal with that?
New month, new sheet, and all to play for. Unless, of course, you invite a member who then joins, which means that the person who invited them gets that to a ton of points and shoots for the top of the league. So, third place so far is Terry Megan on 78. I'll go outside by Terry. In fact, well, second place is also on 78. John, who's on the phone somewhere out there. Is there?
Yeah.
Well, mate, 78. So 96 points to Jane in the lead.
It's only week one, Got 3 more weeks to go. Thank you very much. Well, today we have the top of the tree giving the education talk today, so I'm going to hand over to the lovely Jane. Jane Mallion, Wild to Savannah.
Thank you very much indeed. Hello everybody. So today's education spot is about what we're missing out on. Because we stand up in our little area here, we tend to spend the first 2 minutes checking our trousers. Notice it's quite a lot of that, if not our hair. But we're not using our hands and the space in front of us enough. This is real estate. I know you can't go very far in your gap here, but you've definitely got some space in front. And I wanted to highlight using that a little better perhaps, because just using words really appeals to the people in the room that are hearing auditory people. And we do fall into some people are quite visual, some people are quite touchy-feely and so on. But if you're only using words, you are missing out on those who would rather see something. So I want to talk about using your hands and props, especially to reinforce the point that you're making. If you think back to the 10 minutes that you voted for in the recent awards, the top 2 were very interactive. I mean, Mike's literally had us twirling around and being very visual for everybody, and it was kind of fun and we could all feel participative in it. So here is an idea. Now, I'm not very good with my woodwork, but supposing you had 3 points to make this is what we did last year, this is what we did last year. So if you did bring a nail and some wood, excuse my shaking hands. Actually, I might have to get you to hold the nails for me.
With your teeth.
Yes. So last year, this represents Dardy Dar that our company did. And this year, this is all about this. And everybody knows where you're going with that. It's like I don't want to stop them. So everybody knows where you're going with that. I mean, if you only have this space here and you didn't have your nails, you could do, last year we did this year this year, the next year that. Once you've established that, you can't mix them up. You can't go, so next year, no, because you've already made that last year. So this is the hint. Can you think of a prop that would reinforce what you're going to say? Top hat, bringing things out, hard hat, like Martina did. It could be that your company's going into a bumpy time and you've got the hard hat on. Say, look guys, bear with us, we've gone into a bumpy time, but we're going to get through it. So I commend you to think about a prop because it will make you so much more memorable. And to think about the space in front of you and using your hands. It's much better than that, which is very defensive. That's kind of, at ease, that doesn't work very well. And it's quite hard to do something with the hands. We don't have to be Magnus Pike. It doesn't have to be, exactly, it doesn't have to be all like that. But just using them to express is a very good thing. So finally, if I said, we went onto this deserted beach and it stretched for miles and you could see into the horizon and it was, or if I went, we went onto this deserted beach and it stretched for miles and you could see into the horizon as far as you could. Now I'm painting the picture for you and it's a little bit more 3D. So today's tip is about making good use of your hands and the space in front of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jane. You absolutely nailed it. Right. Membership matters. We have a membership matter. Terry.
Thank you. We have a membership matter. No, it's great to welcome Hannah to the group today. We've warned her about the initiation ceremony. She said she's not up for it this week. But next week we're going to have so next week we'll do the hand over the paper and the folder and everything, but just be aware, I mentioned earlier what you could be prepared for. But delighted to welcome Hannah.
Okay, we now approach the first major part of the meeting, the 60-second round. Before I do, as usual, business card box is going round. Add to it, take from it, do whatever you want with it. That will go round. And as we do, we will get into the 60-second round itself. Vincent is our timekeeper, and he will let you have after 50 seconds and after 1 minute. He'll probably do it slightly louder, but the Oscar last week was won by Neil. He will be listening out carefully and awarding this week's Oscar at the end of the round. And as usual, because he's got to sit and listen and think and do all the other things you need to do, he will be listening and he will be awarding the Oscar. You go first then, and you will be followed by John.
Thank you very much, Andy. Much appreciated. Hi everyone, Neil from Lillian Catering, Chile Republic. You usually hear me have good news, doing well, doing fantastic. Another busy week, another busy month, not today. Today is a crap one. So as a lot of people know, I put into a festival this weekend, burgers, fries, hot dogs, guaranteed success. Great event down in Raleigh, really local. Last night, the organiser rang me up. Sorry, Mush, can't come. And that's 4 hours after $3.5 grand worth of food has already been delivered. So this is a genuine appeal, and I'll make it super quick. If anyone's got a freezer that's empty, anyone knows anyone that's got freezers or walk-in freezers that's empty, I've literally got 1,200 burgers, 300 chicken thighs, and about 30 cases of chips that all need a home or they're going in the bin. And I want to avoid that because I can use those coming up. So if anyone does know anyone, send us a message. I'll rock up at your house or anywhere and with a couple of 100 burgers, and I need storing them for 2-3 weeks to the next big events. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful week, and thank you very much. Neil Bellum making the special taste incredible. Thank you.
What do we do with the bodies that's in the freezer so you can put the meat in?
I will put them in the garden, it's fine. Under the patio. They all have to be returned.
Thank you, Neil. John, you're next.
Thanks, David. Good morning, everyone. My name's John Freeman. I own the One Stop Property Shop. I
I can always do a patio for the bodies to it. Yeah. And, Neil, I might be able to help you. I might be able to help you.
He'll eat it all.
So apart from building things, painting things,
Storing
tiling
burgers.
things, I can also store dead bodies on the patio and some lots of burgers and chicken fries in walking free, possibly. Make course.
I look forward to talking to you later, mate. Thank you.
No worries. Just a little reminder, I'm away for the month of May. Anyone looking for a bathroom or kitchen refurb, June onwards. And it may be mid-June before I'm back, it just really depends on what happens in May. Other than that, welcome, Hannah. Well done. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, John. Mike, you're followed by James.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Mike from Blackwater Media. Letting everyone know about an offer I've got on at the moment, which is half-day photo shoots on location and delivery of edited photos for £200. This is aimed at and ideally suited to small businesses and shops that want to put together a bit of marketing material, get some high-quality photos for their social media websites, that sort of thing, publications to put out. It can include staff photos, product shots, location shots, details or lifestyle type shots within a location, also open to other areas such as sports photos and team shots, fleet and vehicle captures, and anything else that can reasonably be shot within half a day. So if you know any businesses that could benefit from that, please pass them my details. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mike. James, your next follow, Mike.
Morning all, James from RMK General Insurance Brokers. I mentioned it last week, but General Insurance Brokers, so we will be able to place pretty much anything you send us. However, we are certainly particularly good at certain things. I won't spoil the end of the meeting because I did have a referral last week from someone, and I'm going to announce that at the end. He called me, high risk, didn't know how many employees he'd have. Currently sure I wouldn't offer him terms because of all the variables. We had terms out at the end of the day, saved him about £200 and gave him better cover than he had before. So we done a decent job there. Also to mention the property owners, I keep banging on about it, but residential, commercial, standards, niche, weird and wonderful. Send them my way and we can help you out. James at RMK Insurance.
Thanks, James. Kieran, followed by Emma.
Good morning everyone, I'm Kieran Peaty from Studio 40, the architect for the group, and over the last couple of weeks I've been speaking about feasibility studies and how we look at planning constraints for the site and then we produce a cost plan to help you manage the project costs. This week I'd like to reiterate that that is open to anybody who is not yet ready to proceed full bore with their project. So if you know anybody that's at the initial stages looking to fact find and understand what they can do, please pass on my details. As well, social media, we're just in the process of turning up the volume on our social media channels, and I can feel your eyes boring into it at the moment, so apologies, but if you see anything posted by myself on LinkedIn or Studio 40 on Instagram, I would really appreciate some likes and some shares. I'm useless on social media, I confess, but what I promise is that from now on, anything that I see from you guys, I'll share and like as much as possible as well. Again, Kieran Peaty from Studio 40. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Kieran. Emma, you're followed by
Good morning everyone, I'm Emma Taylor from Keller Williams, not your average estate agent. This week's been quite a busy week for me. Firstly, I have an exchange on Tuesday for a completion next week. Our buyer and our seller had actually been ready for 3 weeks. And unfortunately, due to the chain above, they were waiting and waiting. But one of the things that I noticed with the high street agency was the lack of consistency. Over those 3 weeks, I dealt with 4 different people doing the sales progression, whereas my clients only had to deal with myself and myself. Secondly, I took on a property yesterday, 4-bedroom property in Billericay. So if you do know anyone looking to move to Billericay, I would love to hear from them. And that's coming to market next week. They were also looking to go with actually an online agency, but once I spoke to them and showed them sort of my value proposition, they could see. Thank you. Moral of the story is you get what you pay for. That's me. Thank you.
Thank you, Emma. You're followed by Mike.
Good morning everybody, Toby Acton, Sales Master Skill. Just a reminder this morning, my tagline, as you know, is helping business owners become wealthy faster. But it's not just about financial wealth, it's not just about money in the pocket. There's also wealth of time, wealth of mindset, well, I'm doing the space thing here. Wealth of health, wealth in relationships, wealth of life experiences. There's no point in having all the money in the world, but you've got to work all the hours that God sends to get it, so you don't get to see your family, so your relationships suffer, and you're stressed, so your health suffers, and you don't get to enjoy the fruits of your labour. So it's about getting everything in balance. That's Toby Acton, Sales Masters Guild, helping business owners to get wealthy in every sense of the word.
Mike Hickson, followed by
Thank you. I'm Mike Hickson from LSA Systems. I'm the man that can. Today I'd like to touch on Wi-Fi and security. If you think about the average hotel, in the main they advertise internet access and Wi-Fi for free. Many hotels, however, don't realise that the Wi-Fi they're offering is totally insecure. If when you get to the receptionist gives you a piece of paper that says this is the Wi-Fi code, it's insecure because everyone has that code. And once you connect your phone to that Wi-Fi, potentially anyone on the same Wi-Fi network can have access to your phone, which means that you're opening yourself up to potential theft of data on your mobile device. So this week I'm looking for anyone who has a referral for a hotel that might be interested in making their Wi-Fi more secure. That's Mike Hickson from LSA Systems, the man that can. Hopefully.
Thanks, Mike. Hannah, you are next.
Hello, I'm Hannah O'Shea and I'm from HFI Media. I help businesses have an easier social media experience and help grow their media businesses in some way. One of my clients went from 0 views, 2 followers, to having 8 million views and nearly 100,000 followers just within a month. That obviously shows you the power of social media. This week has been interesting for me. I've been meeting with potential clients, but the main question I get obviously is how do you know the right time to post and how do you know the content is up to par? And the answer I always give is the backlog, the insights, which shows you everything from the hour of the height of engagement to your demographic. So the phrase is always, social media is always changing, which is true, but that also means that your social media content needs to change as well. So if you or you know anyone who needs any help with social media, please get in touch. Hannah's from Social Media.
Thank you, Hannah. William, you're next. Followed by Ben.
Yeah, morning guys. I'm William Verner, Commercial Finance Specialist. I've been working with a lady who used to be own nurseries for children in North Essex, and bottom line is she sold it 3 years ago, her business, and went into spa business 2 days before COVID was announced. So obviously within 6 months it closed, well in 3 months actually it closed, and she knew what to do. She went back to base and she wanted to become a nursery teacher again. But she had a nice big house worth 1.5 million. She had an annex worth 400 grand, nice bit of land. But what to do? So she contacted us. She'd been knocked back by everybody trying to get a loan. And bottom line is, we did a deal for her. Very complicated deal because moving from residential business into from a house owner to a business owner was very different. But we got this yesterday. I can't thank you enough. I'm really without words, and I just cannot find the words to express my gratitude enough. Not only does it mean I get to keep my home, well, a smaller version of my home, but the nursery we'll create here will be simply amazing. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. Not very professional, I know, but it means so much to me. So that's something we did, and she was literally knocked back by at least 8 other borrowers. So William Verner, Commercial Finance Specialist, thank you.
Thanks, well, Ben.
Good morning, guys. Ben Golding from Utility Warehouse. Well, it's official. You are now paying more than ever in history for your home energy. Now, for some of you in the room, that's going to be an extra £2,500 out of your pocket every year. There are currently no cheap fixed deals or variable deals available online, and getting a quote online is almost impossible. But don't panic, you lovely people. I am here to help you and your families and your friends save money and get the cheapest fixed or variable that's available on the market. Plus, a heap of other savings on broadband, mobile phones and boiler cover. So, now my time speaking is coming to an end. Book a one-to-one or refer a friend. That's Ben Golding, Utility Warehouse.
Thank you, Ben. Tina, you're next, and you're followed by Terry.
Good morning everybody, my name's Tina, my company's called Liberty Executive Services. I offer a secretarial and admin service. I'm based in Essex but cover locally and nationwide. Helping one-man bands to corporations that need an extra pair of hands. And now as the summer is coming up and people are starting to go on holiday, but they're afraid to go away now because of their businesses, because they don't want to shut it down. That's where I can help them and cover them while they're on holiday. I can take messages, book appointments, so when they come back, they'll have meetings and clients are happy. So if you know anybody that needs an extra pair of hands, pass my details, I'll be happy to help. So it's me, Tina Walker, Liberty Executive Services. I'm not a 9 to 5, I'm start to finish. Thank you all.
Thanks, Tina. Terry, you're next.
Hey, good morning again everybody, it's Terry Mayling, TM5. 2 new clients this week. One is a client now and one's potentially a client. And they're both for debt recovery, their own money. They've got companies and their own various amounts of money, one of them quite a lot of money over a period of time. And one of the big things they wanted to know was about cost. They wanted to know what's it going to cost them. And I explained to them that I try and cover my charges by the compensation you can get on outstanding debts, which is compensation on every outstanding invoice, anything from £40 to £100 per invoice, and interest, which is a ridiculous 8.75%. So that kind of puts their fears to rest, and I then engage with them. But also I try and engage with them and say, when your invoice becomes outstanding, get it over to me straight away. Have a system in place for your credit control, get it over to me, and then we'll move on. Because some of these invoices have been outstanding for 1.5 years, 2 years, some of them 6 months. So if you know anyone that's in that situation, preferably small businesses, give them my details, I'll be happy to talk to them. Terry Mayling, TM Law, thank you.
Good morning everybody, Jane Mallion from the English Green Tea Company. So danke, merci, thank you. We've all been good children today because we said thank you to Brian. Saying thank you is very important. Thank you, Nate. Thank you very much. But I'd just like to say you're not always easily accessible to say thank you and pat people on the back. And we can do it with chocolate, with scones, with cream tea and so on. So please bear us in mind for thank you gifts. We can send them all over mainland UK, and actually it's a very nice thank you to receive something that's a sweet treat. It's like a hug in a box arriving. So for thank yous and even apologies, we're very good on that. Do consider our products. We sent one out recently, a hamper, and the message inside was, sorry about the carpet. We've no idea. So Jane Mallion, English Green Tea Company, really good way of saying thank you or even sorry.
One dog owner to another, sounds like. Excellent. Paul is next. So soon. And Vincent will follow.
Good morning everyone, Paul DeLue, Red Vine Limited Communications Agency. We help businesses communicate clearly and effectively. If your business was on the high street of your local town, then you'd spend time making sure your shop front was up to date and that it was clear what you did and showed the quality of the goods and services. However, all too often for small businesses, whose shop front is the website, it gets neglected. People don't update it, people don't refresh it, people don't keep it looking spick and span as they would the shop window of a high street store. One of the services I provide is a website audit. It's not an expensive service, but I go through a website and I'll give you an absolute sort of breakdown on what's good, what's not good, what needs improving. So if you want your shop front refreshed this Easter or ready for summer, give me a shout. Paul DeLue, Red Vine Limited, helping businesses communicate clearly and effectively.
Thank you all. Vincent, Westcott.
Hello everyone, Vincent from Speaker. We do quite a bit of work for care homes. This is a logbook that we've produced recently, this week actually. And this is a visitor report site book, something. We refreshened it for them, it looks much better than it did. Good work. Other things we do for care homes are branded hand sanitizer stations. Shall I display this? It's easy for you to say. And various signage. That's where the toilet is, Toby, in case you're wondering. So really I'm looking for any privately run care homes, nursing homes, hospices, or visiting carers, in fact. Right, so, you know, of any old people, that would be a great referral from me. Thank you very much.
Too early.
Right, next up is Scott, he's followed by Brian.
Yes, good morning, Dr. Scott. Thank you, Jane, for an excellent Ed Scott at the beginning. Following on about making something that can be often quite static and dull and boring, your web pages need to move, to come to life, to tell the story. So perhaps we should think about how we might be able to introduce subtle elements of animation, of just having an image fading or slide or move. Perhaps something interesting with your logo or key elements of your pages. Just bring them to life. We can do all kinds of work with that, especially through Matt and Matt's agency and their excellent animation skills. So let's make your pages pop. Scott from SEO.
Yes, Scott. Brian.
Thank you. Hello everybody, Brian Painting, therapist, Pilgrim Hypnotherapy. A couple of months ago I saw a lady, she had breast cancer, and the surgeon said, you need to have an MRI scan so I can see precisely where it is. So 3 times she had appointments, 3 times she sat on the MRI, and as soon as that bed started moving, she shrieked and she got off. She had dreadful claustrophobia. Now, I had helped somebody with a hospital problem previously, and the nurse remembered, and she told this lady to see me. So she did, and she went back and she said a little note to me, because both the nurse and her daughter could not get on that MRI. Just a note to say thank you again for getting me into the MRI. My daughter and the nurses could not believe it. But I did it and it was easy. Thank you very much. And also, I've got a party from Jane, but I'm far too modest to read the nice things she said. Next week I'll let somebody else read it.
I will be followed by Paul. Agent Squire from TM Law. At the moment, where an employee works will depend on his contract, and that's likely to be the workplace of the employer. The employer has a right to apply, the employee has a right to apply for flexible working hours, which could also be from home. The employee can reasonably refuse and can bring his objections under half a dozen different criteria. So the default position is therefore no flexibility. There can be benefits to employers as well as employees from flexibility, but beware, things are going to change. COVID has forced employers and employees to be more flexible, and working from home is now much more feasible for various people. Legislation is anticipated that might alter the default position to flexibility. The onus might change to the employer to justify staff not working from home. We'll keep you up to date with the law. Amy Squire from TM Law.
Do my job.
Only doing my job, Governor. Yes. Paul Booth is next.
Yeah, morning. Paul Booth from Booth & Co. Chartered Certified Accountants based in Brentwood. We don't act just for local clients. We've got clients all over the country. So on Monday, I spoke to a potential client in Cornwall. They're going to come to us. He's a handyman and his wife is a handywoman as well. Both sole traders. On Tuesday, I spoke to a cleaning company in Dorset. She's a recommendation from an existing client in Dorset. So today I'm looking for anyone you know in business or personal tax clients, not just based locally, anywhere in the country. Paul Booth from Booth & Co. Minimise tax, maximum wealth.
Thank you, Paul. That brings to an end the second round. Over to Neil, please.
Thank you very much. I don't know if anyone agrees with me, but I generally thought that was an awesome round of 60 seconds. I mean, some of those were actually really, really, really brilliant. So bravo to Jane, bravo to Brian, bravo to Aidan for really good presentations. 4 that really stuck out for me was Mike Skinner. Really good use of your services on location. I am being slightly biased, which is why I didn't win, because I'm engaging in services for a day out cooking on the sea. Would like to say, Mike H, great one. Let's talk in our one-to-one, because I might be able to help you out with where to go for that kind of work. That's my industry. Hannah, awesome. Yeah, really informative. You know, that's like really great stuff. But my winner this week is because someone hit on a topic that is absolutely bangingly close to my heart. I'm all about richness, as you can tell, not the money. But I'm blessed with great family, great wife, great life, and that is my version of richness. So Toby, well done.
Every time I don't plan what I'm going to say, I win the Oscar. Because the rest is shit.
We don't know.
Well, you can have it back next week.
Thank you very much, Neil. Well done, Toby. Making this go faster. Right. Scott.
Okay, so a reminder to you all that we're running the referrer of the month. So it's really an incentive to get you remembering to fill out these little chappies. But something we did a couple of years ago that slowly drifted away and we stopped doing is the speakers prize. Who remembers the speakers prize?
The good old days.
Bottle of wine.
So for those who don't remember or who have never experienced it, the speakers prize, formerly called the door prize, whoever stands up and delivers a 10-minute presentation can elect, if they choose, to bring the speakers prize. Traditionally it was a bottle of something. It could be something delicious that Jane brings along. It could be something as a small token from your business. I quite often would give a domain name or something of 10, 20 pounds, something like that. And what happens after the 10-minute presentation, everybody who has put a green referral slip thingy in, they all get fanned out, we choose one of those, and they win the prize. So I think it would be a nice thing to do to bring that back. What do we think?
Stop from today, Paul.
Funny enough, I've got something to give. Because givers gain.
Did you just swear?
So that's what we're doing. Remember to put these in, not just for the speaker's prize, not just for the referral giver of the month, but because they're all good. We've got loads of referral fees.
Very good. Good idea. Thank you very much, Scott. Yes. Synergy team meeting up and coming. Paul, tell us when it will be.
Yeah, the next one is not until the next month, which is the second Tuesday of each month, whichever day that will be. So yeah, I'll be choosing. Day of the month. So I'll be sending an invite round.
So, today's speaker did go to the website, and I've got their bio sheet. We have Mr. Paul Delou of Redvine Limited, and his position in the company is mainly seated. However, his location covered by Redvine is the Redvine HQ in Rayleigh, but currently works with clients all over the UK, Belgium, the United States, and Canada. And he's a corporate communications is the nature of his business. So a frightening experience for Paul was when his son spending the first 10 days of his life in intensive care. An unusual incident that happened to Paul is spending the night in a very hot, dark, dilapidated, I can't even tell it now. Awful. Run down Catholic monastery on the banks of the Congo River. A prized possession is, I'm going to see if I get this one right.
I deliberately put words in that you struggle with.
I know you always do. I'm going to say a Japanese knife, basically. It's a Japanese chef's knife to chop vegetables, which he recently made. And finally, A satisfying achievement is redesigning his garden, changing it from somewhere quite grim into a space that he can use every single day. So without further ado, put your hands together to welcome Mr. Paul DeLue.
Before I start, refreshers is actually a 17th century word. Can everyone see that? Any mistakes in here, I attribute to Terry, who was fiddling around with the laptop earlier.
Those pictures in.
There we go. Hold on. Well, good morning, everyone. Delighted to be doing my 10 minutes at the start of the time there. Doing my 10 minutes this morning. I'm just going to give you a bit of an introduction about me and then also about Redvine. Now, for those that have known me for a couple of years, I'm sure there'll be a few things in here you didn't know about me. So, anyway, I'm Paul DeLue. However, I'm also known as various other names. Fred, my mother's called me that since about the week after I got home from hospital. Lappy, people in scouting, and my wife called me that. In fact, up until 2 years ago, Scott used to call me that. Diddle Dums, that was a nickname at a particular job. Phil Deloitte, that was in one particular meeting. Guy came in to pitch for some business, referred to me as Phil, Mr. Deloitte the whole way through, needless to say, didn't get it. Diddy, Universal Friends for 2001. And Daddy, 2013, the name I'm most proud of. So, back to me, Paul DeLue. I'm 49 and a third years old exactly. Sing happy birthday later. I live in Raleigh with my wife and 2 kids. There they are again. Now, I left school in 1991 with 1 A-level. I'll be honest, I didn't enjoy school. It wasn't for me. I found it very difficult, not necessarily academically. The whole experience was fairly horrific. But I was good at maths, got A-level in maths. So I naturally went into accounting. Became a management accountant and office manager, latterly at business in the city. Did that for 10 years. And then in 2001 I left. I threw it all in and went off to university, where I gained a degree in management, a lot of which I still use today. 3 new nicknames, and I also appeared on the University Challenge. That's me there. I was the first person in my family to go to university, and I've got to say, my mum was more proud about the fact I met Jeremy Paxton than I actually went to university and got a degree. So the post-university years, 2004 to 8, about 12 years, I worked for some communications agencies in the city, and we helped big companies communicate clearly and effectively with their audiences. A lot of that was financial media, their shareholders, that sort of thing. Also included in that, we helped launch a few things. Vodafone's first 3G network, mobile phone, smartphone that you could view videos and all that on. They said it would never take off, but it did. We helped launch that. Something else that took off was this Ariane 5 space rocket. Worked with a client who had built a communication satellite, went out to French Guiana for the launch of that. The most incredible experience. We were stood a mile from that, as safe as she could be, and the Earth literally shook. So, 2012, I quit the agencies and I went to work for a big company myself. And there, I helped them communicate clearly and effectively. And also solve some problems. I found that disability and this kind of gift, if you like, taking on projects I not necessarily wanted or that other people didn't want, that weren't actually communications, and solve some of these problems for the business. Such as help the company raise $200 million. There was a communications element to it, but I was one of the key team working with lawyers, working with brokers and so forth to bring debt into the business. And the whole process was fantastic, incredibly stressful. However, it did allow us to do projects like this, which was building 72 water boreholes across the area that the company operated. And I put this project together myself. I found the water charity that we work with and sort of drove the whole project forward. So it's something I'm incredibly proud of, and it's kind of a lasting legacy of my involvement in that business. So, as I say, 2012 to 2019, worked for this big company, doing these projects, which earned me a further nickname, which I haven't actually mentioned on the first one, of the Swiss Army knife, or to be actually correct with the Belgian CEO, the Swiss Army knife. Where is the Swiss Army knife? I need you! Anyway, in 2009, the opportunity arose for me to take redundancy from that business, and I'd spent a lot of time travelling overseas and decided it was time to actually get my feet firmly on the ground at home. So I now work for a small company, Redvine, helping businesses of any size communicate clearly and effectively. I draw on my experience of working for the agencies, advising the big companies, working for the big company, and all the other things I've kind of done through my life, scouting and university at a later age and so forth. And some traits that have developed or I've discovered along the way because of all those things I've been doing, such as creativity. I left school with a maths A-level. I didn't think I was creative, couldn't draw. However, I clearly am. Meticulousness, working on with these big companies, listed companies, regulated businesses, working on these deals to raise money. Attention to detail was absolutely vital. So when I'm writing for clients or I'm doing work for clients, I'm fastidious about making sure that things are correct. If I quote something, I make sure that the quote is true. There's no fake news in the sort of things I write. And then, through to things like common sense, it's something that I personally think we've got. We haven't got a lot of people haven't got it. But it's being able to turn around to clients and say, look, whoa, stop, pause, wait. Is this really the right way we should be doing this? Is this really what's best for your business? So what does Redvine do? So I use my experience and traits to help businesses learn how to communicate clearly and effectively. And we do that through things such as helping them develop their key messages and their voice and where they want to be as a business, how they want to be perceived by the outside world. We develop strategies for them to communicate. I don't really do social media, that's for younger people, but I can work with clients to work out what it is ultimately they want to say. Help people learn how to present. People in businesses are often very, very good at what they do. They're not necessarily very good at actually telling people about it, and a whole host of other things. And then I use my experience and those traits I've developed over the years to help businesses actually do the communications. So I write articles and blogs, everyone knows about that. I work on websites for Scott and Matt. I put together presentations, doing a lot of that at the moment. Press releases, getting into the media, helping businesses stay out of the media, newsletters and manuals, basically everything that a business creates in order to communicate with the outside world, I help businesses do. So a bit more about Redvine. Fundamentally, what do we believe in? We believe that communication should be clear and effective, because otherwise it's just noise. If you were to go around and put a leaflet through every door in your town, and it was in Latin, it could be the most revelatory piece of information that people ever want to receive. If they can't understand it, then there's no point. It's just noise. It's just junk mail. It's not just what you say as a business that matters. It's also what you don't say. It's equally important. I can give you some examples later. I'm running out of time. It's also how you say it. It's about where you say it. It's when you say it. It's why you're saying it. It's who you're saying it to. All of these things will be different for each and every business. There's no one-size-fits-all approach to communications for business. Every business is unique. And that's why I enjoy what I do for a living. So in conclusion, it is the unique combination of Redvine's beliefs, my experience, and who I am that helps businesses communicate clearly and effectively. Clearly and effectively. Thank you. Questions, please? Any questions? Yes, Mike.
What made you decide at the age of 30 to go to university? What a brave step.
Thank you. I was working in the city, and I was working as a management accountant for a company where the majority of people, everybody else, was university educated. Lots of people by the name of Tarquin and Penelope and so forth. And it had been made quite clear to me that there was no sort of further progression in that business because I hadn't been to university, because I wasn't educated. And one of the guys said to me, look, why don't you do it? And I thought, you know what, if I don't do it, then I never will. So I handed my notice in, went off and did a little bit of travelling at the age of 28. I was the oldest person ever to be in halls of residence at Leicester University. But it was the most incredible experience because I learned how to learn, which I'd never really achieved at school. But it also really broadened my sort of horizons. You know, I grew up in a small village just south of Brentwood where everyone was effectively, you know, white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. Suddenly I'm living cheek by jowl with people from all over the world, different cultures and different beliefs, and it was that, you know, that was as important a learning experience as the academic side of things. So,
have you ever had to do a press release or PR for a company that's in a bit of a sticky situation?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, crisis communications is something I've done quite a bit of, and you talk to small business owners about it, they're like, it's irrelevant to me. But imagine if you were an accountancy firm and you lost your laptop, and a local newspaper or a client was going ballistic about it. You've got to know what to do. Or you're, a chef, and you know people claim that you poisoned them. You've got to have a way of protecting your reputation. It's not just about the media; it's about how you deal with social media. It's about getting in front of crises and so forth. So yeah, I've done a lot of it, and it's the best way for any business to deal with a crisis is to plan ahead and actually put in place a process that they're going to pick up, that in the event that the proverbial hits the fan, they know exactly who's going to do what and when. And the biggest mistake that businesses make when a crisis hit is to stand there like rabbits in a headlight going, oh my God, we don't know what to do, because by the time they've actually decided what they're going to do, most of the damage is done. The quicker a company gets out and actually says something to actually take control of the issue that they're facing, the better for the company, the more likely the business will survive. Paul?
Of all the different types of work that you do, what is your favourite type of work?
It depends on a day-to-day basis, to be honest. Yeah, the writing stuff I do is really enjoyable when I'm in that sort of writing mode. The inspiration's flowing. If I'm not in that headspace, then it's the most torturous experience. I actually like sitting and putting together presentations because I kind of take myself away from what I'm doing and think, right, if I was in the audience with this certain kind of the certain person in the audience. I did one recently for a client who was presenting to some potential investors. Right, if I was a potential investor, what would I want to know here? And so I kind of come at things from that perspective. Rather than, we are the business, this is what we want to tell you. Like, what would the audience want to know? So I quite enjoy that sort of thing as well. But yeah, it very much depends on the client and on the general mood. One of the things that I do enjoy about what I do is that it is kind of endlessly variable. Working on a presentation yesterday, today I know I'm going to be going through and proofreading a company report, and then I'm going to be doing some writing. It's kind of very variable. So there's no one thing. Yes,
if you're working with a new client and you need to extract the information from them that you are going to communicate about, what's the process? Because I could imagine you could end up sitting there for hours while they just try to regurgitate everything to you.
We'll sit down generally and have a coffee or a cup of tea or whatever, hang on, and we'll sit there and I'll just ask them, look, talk to me, tell me about your business, explain what makes your business special. And in that process, you're taking it away from the sort of formal kind of, hello, my name is so-and-so and this is my business, to much more conversation, getting to the, where the passion and the kind of the real drive behind that person's business is. So it's very much just a case of sit down quite often, or record it, or scribble down some notes. It's just an organic process, and especially with smaller businesses where people are experts in what they do, running a business and very busy, trying to make money, etc., etc., etc. It's only actually by getting them to stop and pause and sit down and talk about the business that you go, so it's this? Yes. And it's almost like the clouds lift and there's an epiphany and they, yes, that's what we do. But they've never had the time or the kind of, if you like, coaching and cudgelling to actually put that thing into words. And it's even in bigger businesses, a lot of bigger businesses will struggle to actually say, well, this is what we are. And it's basically a cup of tea.
Paul, thank you very, very much indeed. Excellent. Yeah, we need you to. Yes. Right. The referrals and testimonials round. Brian has been cultured into the Naughty Corner in the absence of Stuart Morton. Start with the Naughty Corner as always. Come round. Paul.
Yeah, welcome to and brilliant. I think for next week we need to think of a special EBF nickname for Paul. Special EBF one. Referral for Howard, which I sent across to him. Very good one-to-one with Neil last week, so thank you for that and good meeting.
Thank you, Paul. It's my title was also communication. And to be honest, I was told that the meaning of a communication is what we see that understands. So I didn't know you meant that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jane, also. And thank you very much for the club. Good meeting. See you next week.
Sorry, my leg's started. Yeah, great meeting, thank you. Obviously being sort of newish, it's good to find out a little bit more things about business. No, it's fine, thank you, and welcome. I had a great one-to-one, two-to-one yesterday with Terry and Aidan, which was fantastic. And actually, I don't know which one to give. White one. Actually, potentially could be some business in it for all of us with a guy who does probate, or doesn't do probate, passing it over to these guys. So, yeah, thank you for that. Good meeting. Thank you.
10 minutes, Paul, of that repetition. Jane, great 10 minutes. Absolutely fantastic.
Cool.
Ed Slot, that's the one, yeah. I'll wake up soon, don't worry. Welcome, Hannah. I've got a referral for Hannah actually. She needs some business cards, so I've passed her on the name of a good printer. There's Vince as well, I've given her his name.
Thank you very much.
Is that count? Do I get points for that?
No.
Also a referral for Mike. And also I'm looking for referrals, this is on behalf of a client, to restaurants and hotels that could do better, that needs better service. I've got a client that goes into hotels and helps them with that sort of thing. So if you all want to go out and sort of try out some restaurants and hotels and see how good they are, I'm not going to be paying your expenses, but any referrals that would be very gratefully received. That's it, thank you.
Tony, that's nearly every restaurant in the city.
Yeah, in England,
Nearly every single one.
yeah, there's a South African guy that is a poor guy.
Yeah,
that's
we visit.
fantastic. Yeah.
Toby, quick chat afterwards.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, great 10 minutes. Thanks, Paul. I don't know how this works. I had obviously a one-to-one with Jane and then a one-to-one with Scott. I don't know how these.
Toby will show you.
Toby will show you.
Okay.
It's a worrying kind. Do that. That one goes to Scott. That one goes in your bag. That one goes to him.
Okay.
Did you get that?
Yeah.
A copy? Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Scott, and I'll take
Green
this.
one's good.
Okay, right. I will get home.
That's all right.
Another great meeting. Great Ed Slot, Jane. Really good. I just want to thank you for invoking memories of Magnus Pike. I've forgotten you existed. Thanks, Hannah, for the one-to-one last week, and welcome to the club. I can now formally give you that for the one-to-one. Toby, thanks for the referral to Paul Ward. And finally, anyone who knows a good mobile motorbike mechanic, because they put me in touch with me fairly urgently because summer is approaching and I need some assistance. Thank you.
Yeah, great presentation. Well, I love this story. I love hearing about it, and yeah, if you could get a one-to-one soon.
Yeah, definitely.
James, great head slot. Great news to everyone. I've got a referral from Mr. PB, the world's greatest accountant. Yeah, Neil. So we arranged one-to-one.
Yes, we want to.
Brilliant. It'd be good to get one involved, and Emma as well, one-to-one. It's going to be smashing. Thanks very much.
Have a great week.
I'll work it round, you know, there's still a few weeks to go.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. Scott, thanks for the money, and thanks for the money to still. And also Scott, that's referral for domain name of charity and email. That was already done and dusted. So, yeah.
Well, that was a fantastic presentation, really, really good, worthy of next year's prize. We've known each other for about 30 years. 30 years this year is, because I've worked it out with Don. It's a long time. I love working on projects with Paul. He questions the clients, he draws out all the right information, challenges them on what they think is right, and makes it work. They're absolutely great. So, great. Thank you very, very much. Showing the monies from Paul, and about half a dozen showing the monies for different renewals and things from Matt also. So a busy week on the other side of things for them.
Excellent presentation, Paul. Thought I knew how to write a blog until you started messing around with mine and making a far better job than me. I have got a referral for John Hammond, which I'll pass on to him if he's not here, from my son for another camera at his business premises, and Emma, after our meeting last week, I need you to sort you out with the property, my mother's property, first start tidying the garden. Thank you very much.
I did not do content. I know Amanda does the
Paul, fantastic presentation. We'll expect nothing less really from you, because they're absolutely fantastic. The words you use that make it come alive, and yeah, absolutely brilliant. So well done. Jane, great education slot, although I've got no idea who Magnus Pike is, I'm afraid. Wait for my time. But no.
16, yeah.
Emma, I'd love to get a one-to-one in with you, and Hannah as well. Welcome, and love to get a one-to-one with you as well. Learn a little bit more about what you do. I had a great one-to-one with Mike Skinner. That led to one referral to Mike Skinner, and then another referral to Mike Skinner. Fantastic meeting. See you all next week.
Great 10 minutes, Paul. Great educational stuff. Sorry, I've been doing all of that about the beach. Oh, yes. Yeah, it took me away, carried me away. Got a couple of referrals. Both for Hannah. Now we can officially do some business like my fat chat. So that's good. And also, a friend of mine, she's just set up a new business selling some female clothing, and I mentioned you to her, and she went, oh, yeah, give her my number. So I'll get her to give you a call. Thank you for the money to Sarah, she's not here. And one start for a little TV at me, just as a record rather than and Trevor called to say, James, you're going to pay you some money today. Okay. See you next week.
Great, it's like Jane really enjoyed that. Paul, fantastic 10 minutes, and just to tell everyone, I've worked with Paul a few times now on a few projects, and it's always been brilliant. A few times I sort of messaged you on Thursday night, didn't I, and said, it's all going wrong on my Friday morning, and sorted stuff out for me, and all got it. So yeah, very much recommend working with him. Got a one-to-one with Ben.
Don't break the system, mate.
Never recover. And I'd love to book in a one-to-one with both Emma and Hannah. That's all right at some point, maybe next week, something like that. And yeah, great, see you next time.
Well, I'm sure we've done some bits and pieces together. We're going to do more as it goes forward. But yeah, he tidies up our blogs and makes they look nothing like what I send him. Just wrong. Topics the same, other than that, completely different. Well, brilliant. Thank you very much for your help so far. Had a great one-to-one with Emma, as you mentioned, and a really good one-to-one with Scott. Thanks, Scott, for coming over to Deepest, Darkest Woodford. That was good. I'll keep that, all right. Got one for yourself, Paul. Take you up on that website audit. Have
Yep, no problem.
Look at the wording, change it all so it makes sense to my customers.
Yep.
That'd be really nice. Everyone spoke about the valuation. I'll speak to you more about that. Valuation if they're undervalued, wrong spoke about that. Get back to you on that. Seeing as office admin, we've spoken about that.
Yeah, great meeting. Great to meet. Paul with my satellite so I must really tidy up my act there. Communication has been the theme this morning, so a huge apology for this. Vince has been scratching us an itch for me to do this. I've got to apologise. Yesterday afternoon, a text went out on WhatsApp to the group from Colin. Sorry, I won't be there tomorrow. Celebrating my brother's 60th with an early start in London. At that same time, after a messy afternoon and running around, a friend, business client, whatever you want to call it, sent me a message saying, can't make it. Are we on for lunch? I'm like, yeah, da, da, da. And then as that came out, I went, oh, he's cancelled. So I sent a message.
His name was Colin as well.
His name was Colin, so I should say. So Colin. So one was on LinkedIn, one was on WhatsApp. One went to the other. If you read the WhatsApp, I sound like a complete knob. I am a complete knob for the response because it will not make sense to you guys. Okay? But I had to cancel a client, cancel this, cancel that. And then I walked in this morning and I don't know how the conversation started, but all of a sudden I went, shit, so I am going to lunch today, so I've got to cancel another time. So it's communication. Be careful how you communicate when you've got two different medias in front of you. It's dangerous. I know I am in danger. So, apology, please delete it because I've actually tried to delete it and the only allowed me to delete it. Yeah, so it explains a lot. Alright, so there you go. So, and I'm half expecting Colin to come walk in and go, oi! Get out of order. So there you are. So, apologies. Alright then?
Yeah, don't cancel one-to-ones with him, otherwise you get charged.
Yeah, really bad. So anyway, great 10 minutes, great education spot. I love it. Honestly, I can make a fortune with you. Take you around London, just say, get in there, start speaking. It would be worth a fortune. But thank you, great meeting, thanks.
Great 10 minutes worth.
Yeah,
Is there time for questions? I don't know how to follow that.
For the race
So good meeting. Really interesting 10 minutes. And also, I'm going to update my dating profile now. Give us game is going to be my headline. I spend too much time talking with my hands. My wife often slaps me on the side of the head when I'm chatting away, so they go home and you tell her I was right all along. Got to thank you for the business for John. And yeah, good meeting. Thanks very much.
Really good spot, Jane. And really good 10 minutes. We've worked together actually over the last couple of years, which is really interesting. Got one here for Terry to arrange, sort out that debt. And we'll sort that out next week. Welcome, Hannah. Definitely have a one-to-one. And see you all next week.
Thank you. The membership meeting will convene to discuss whether we accept William's apology or not. Well done, Squiggle, for your 10 minutes. So, I've decided that's the new official EDF nickname. And well done, Toby, for winning the Oscar again. Really well deserved, mate. And thank you for the referral from Hannah. It's really good of you. Thank you.
I'd like to say outstanding 10 minutes by Phil Deloy. Really great. I will say new website's going up in a week, so you'll actually be able to see Paul Delu's handiwork in action. He's done all the content and communication for our website, and an unbelievable, outstanding job he's done. Highly recommend. Great Ed Slot, planning on using my hands and space all the time. I've done a ton of one-to-ones, got more planned. Mike, Kieran, and Nick's coming over for lunch next week. So yeah, if anyone fancies a one-to-one, wants to come over, stick an apron on, and we'll do some fun cooking. And you get to eat what you do afterwards, a bit like Blue Peter. So yeah, up for that. And Hannah and Emma, I'll be inviting you for a one-to-one for next week. Thanks, guys. You will be cooking. Yeah.
Did you hear it?
Oh dear. Well, I really enjoyed that. I liked the Swiss Army knife, the Schwarzenegger impersonation, and I'd love a one-to-one with you. Partly because I've never heard the end of the monastery story, and yet so that would be awesome. Thank you so much. Mike Skinner, we're doing more YouTube work together with Mike, wherever he is, and Hannah. So Hannah's off on Hollybogs this Saturday, so you might have to wait a little bit. But I've already got my next appointment for and that's also Hannah for our recent one.
That's not how it's done, is it?
So sorry. Ben, could we grab a vote afterwards? I've got a lead. I don't know if it's a proper referral yet, but it could be huge for you if it comes off. And finally, I know a young boy who's about 11 who won't go to a dentist. He's terrified. And he's got... I knew a young boy from... Yeah. And he's got terrible toothache and decay. And I wondered if maybe we could go down that route. I'm going to mention you to his mother. Thank you, everybody. A really enjoyable meeting. Really enjoyable. Magnus Pyke was a very animated presenter on the telly with octopus arms, and he was famous. He was outrageously expressive. That's yes. Anybody under 60 need not apply. Thank you. Bargain chocolate brownie ready for Easter.
Paul, before you sit down, come up and
the gift that I'll give today is I mentioned the website audit that I do, but it will be a light touch audit. So whoever gets this, and you can either use it yourself or you can give it to somebody else, and I will review your website and come back with suggestions about some changes and improvements you might.
Can't we have white?
Sorry?
Can't we still have white?
There it is.
Kieran Peaty, is this?
Thank you very much, Paul, for the presentation, for doing the running, and finally picking the Speaker Prize, which we will now glory in. I'm sorry about this, Kieran, but I have been fascinated by the moth that shares your wardrobe. I just bring my eyes just together. Give it my regards when you. Give it my regards when you see it. Right. We've had the Speaker Prize. That's about the meeting. But may I ask you if anybody has any announcements to make?
I've got a question actually for Scott. In terms of the website design stuff you do, you work with WordPress, is it? If people have got existing, and I've got a specific in mind, just general question. If people work with, have got a Squarespace, Wix, website, whatever, can you work with those as well, or do you only really work with?
Generally, WordPress is my ecosystem.
Okay.
I often encourage people to leave while I move across.
Yes,
I try and steer away from managing a Squarespace or a Wix.
Okay.
You just build a new one, Josh.
What's that?
You'll just build a new one.
Right. No other revelations. It's beautifully sunny out there. I'm going to go and take my car in for a service, but other than that, you don't need to know any more. Thank you very much for your attendance. A great meeting. Really enjoyed it. Look forward to seeing you all next week.